Hi, this is Johnny. I got good news. I got 45 game arcade game, which is the I'm using the comic book theme, but let's see the comic book theme, and I put them all in a favor because I was testing one by one. So let's start from the first one. So I have the game called IGS by Polygame game company. So let me just start the first one, then you know what game I'm talking about. They have like a Taiwanese company, and they create a game that is similar to NeoGeo, and they have like close to 40 plus. I got 45 game working. It's a IGS company, and they create a PMG. This one is the Mahjong type of game, and here's another Mahjong game, and this is a Demon Front. Now you guys are familiar with that one. It's made by this whole group. The 45 game is made by IGS and by PGM, which is Polygame Master. There you go, that's the name, IGS. So all this game is from the same company, and I downloaded, and I haven't tested all of them, and this is the first time I tested, and I tested on this machine, and it scrape all the video, and using this Anbernic to scrape all of it, and so all the game here work nicely. Now some of them might be a little bit slow, and it take long time to load, so just FYI. And it work with D-pad and a stick. I mean D-pad and analog stick. I'm using analog stick right now. So I'm just going to go down the list. It have all the mix art and video snap and title and everything. This one is a Japanese version of Kwon. And this is another Japanese version, but it's version 1.01. Now the video might look the same because the scrape, which is the screen scraper, they don't know some of those, like the more of a, this one is a bootleg. So yeah, look at the video description that they give you the more correct name of the game. Because it doesn't really. So this is the black label version. And I think this is a black label version, but it's a bootleg. And these don't. Now, some of the game over here, you might think they all they are similar, but they are not. The option in selecting the game is different, and so they are different games. And this one's a clone version, and this is the EX version. So let me demonstrate one of those. They do take a little bit longer in some of the game loading, but once it starts loading, it plays pretty good. At first, I thought that it doesn't work. Now, some of the setting, I will probably have to write them down because they don't use Final Burnout Neo. They use, some of them use May, and some of them use May 2010. So those are the three that this game use. So it's a little bit different than, I was thinking they all use Final Burnout Neo, but for this particular system, it's different, and each one of them use different emulator. Not all of them, but I think half of it is using different emulator. So I will put that in the description to help you guys set it up. Because once you get it, unless I reburn the 32 gig image back on the Telegram, because if you download this one, you won't have the setup, because the setup is stored on this SD card. So if you don't download this one, you just download this one with this game, the game will not automatically work. So you have to have this game plus this image copy into the second SD card, and then it will work. So in other words, I have to give you my setup already pre-set up to you, and then you put it on 32 gig, and then here you just unzip it and zip it to your SD card, and then put it in a folder called RK, and it should work. So that's one way to do it and make it easy. But if you just download this without this 32 gig, then it's going to take you a long time, because you will have to figure out which one that work. So it took me a while because I have to test one by one. And the one that did not work, I went and re-downloaded it from a different site, different location, and then I finally got it working. So just because it doesn't work doesn't mean that it doesn't work, period, because it depends on where you download it, because, you know. Alright, insert coin. Now, this one does have lag, if you could hear the sound. But once the game started, it's not too bad. But it does work, because it took me a while to figure it out. Took me a while to get the right one to work. Now, not all of them are like this, only some. Now, I haven't tested to see if it works on Raspberry Pi yet. I tried to test it in RK1UP hack countercat, but it doesn't recognize a folder called RK. So I have to figure it out. I have to put it somewhere in a different folder and then test it again, because I put it in the wrong folder and it didn't show nothing, so there's no game for me to test. But this one, yes, it does have a great deal of lag, but it's playable, but it's very lag. Some of you might not even want to play this because it's too slow. But when you move it, it moves pretty decent speed. It's just that alright, let's get out of this. Now, part 1 doesn't do that. It just that one, the other one, it tend to do that because I guess the machine can handle it. See, like this is the part 1 and doesn't have any problem loading it. See that? See, this one play very well and pretty fast. So no lag on this one. I just want to demonstrate it because I don't want you to think that it's perfect, everything is running good, and then you come back and ask me, say, well, Johnny, how come mine doesn't run well? Some of them do not run well. Okay, so as you can see, that one runs slow. Now most of them run very well. Now if you put this in Raspberry Pi 4, definitely will run very well. It's more like a column game, like Sega Genesis column. More puzzle game. And this is a puzzle game, but I'm not sure how to play this. It got a number, and I don't know, is it supposed to add up to something? Oh, those are the same color. Oh, I guess you get point for if you connect 3 of them the same color, and those numbers just give you the point, I guess. Don't know. I never played that game before, so I don't know. Now this is the King of Fighter 98. They actually made one game for it, and it's not the same game you see in NeoGeo. So I'm going to demonstrate this one real quick, because in the start off game you could see it's made by the IGS company. Now this one took me a long time to find, and it took me a long time to figure out which ROM that I use, but it does work. It took a long time to load, but it doesn't have any lag on this game. The other one did, if I remember correctly. I don't think it have any lag on it. I know I could make the video shorter by cutting some of this right here, this theme, because it's just loading. But I want you to see the real time, how long it takes, so you know that. See, it's made by this company. It's not made by NeoGeo, but it is a NeoGeo game, if you notice that. So that's what I was saying. They made it for SNK, but they have been making games, and they're pretty cool. Now, if somebody licensed with this and start making an arcade cabinet, I think it would sell very well, you know. Like Unicorn, they could get this company licenses, and they could, because their game is, you know, the game is a little bit similar to NeoGeo. Their purpose was trying to be like NeoGeo and make game for it. Another character. Wow, to pick another one? No? Yeah, it does have lag on it. But I imagine if you play this one on Pi 4, it would be good. Now, you don't see this IGS a lot in a retro game, because the machine had to be fast enough to play this. Now you see this on a PC game. You know, when people make PC game, this does show up in PC game, but it doesn't have it here. Now this is not a NeoGeo ROM, it's IGS ROM. So it's an original ROM from the console called Polygame Master. So the game is gonna run, you know, a little bit slower on this handheld. Now this one has part 1, part 2, and then part. Now this one has so many different versions, but they also are different. Okay, each one of this game is different. It's not the same. It's a similar game, but have different characters. I'm just going down the list a little bit faster so that this video won't take too long, especially the one that have a lot of. Wow, got the sound too loud, I think. So what I'll do is I'll give you the 32 gig download plus this, and then that way you just have to burn in the 32 and then burn this one. Then you don't have to redo the setup. More puzzle game. So let's see what you do is you press the select button, then you scroll up so you come down from the bottom, so it'll be closer to the otherwise you have to keep on going down. So I go up and then start from the bottom up, then press A, then you're gonna go do the same. Here is the way you pick. This one is a final burnout Neo, so that one worked just fine. Okay, and then you go down, you do this to the second one. This is also a final. What did I pick? If I'm picking the, let's try this one, boating. Okay, see this one used May 2000, 0.139, and that is 2010. Okay, so you have to download that from the 2010 package. So even though the game is the same game, it plays different emulator. So those of you who are not familiar with arcade game, like emulator, whenever you play an arcade game, a game could be same name, same title, and it will not work on a default emulator. So you have to pick the right one. So for example, you got all this to pick from, and by default it's set to auto, but it doesn't know which one. So you have to either select this one or May, or the one on top called Final Burnout Neo. Okay, so those are the three are the most popular one that you want to select. Okay, so if you just download this without download the 32, then you have, if the one do not work, you need to pick one of those. Okay, all right, so that's a virtual boating Killer Blade Plus, and this is part 1. So that's pretty much it. This is a 39 game, and it's by IGS, and it's called Polygame Master. So it's a very similar to NeoGeo type of game. Alright, so I just want to demo this and then give you the link so you could download and play it. And then you could also try it on Raspberry Pi. I haven't tried on Raspberry Pi, so I don't know if all the ROM that I download will work. And then I have something to show you that is pretty cool. Now, it's kind of weird is I got this game working at the, I did got it working in NeoGeo, but I couldn't get it working on Raspberry Pi 4. But I got it working in May. But here is opposite. I cannot get it working in May, but I got it working in NeoGeo, which is supposed to be in NeoGeo. So let's start with the Dreamcast. So this is the Dreamcast version, Xeno Crisis. It's a pretty cool game. Now Dreamcast is played a little bit different than the NeoGeo CD and NeoGeo and Sega Genesis. I have all 4 of them, and I got it to work on this handheld, which is pretty cool.
Commander Darius, we have a code red distress signal from Xeno Crisis.
Now, this one, when you play it, is a little bit different than,
Make your selection.
so you could, like that. Each button is a direction shooting, okay? So it's a little bit different than the other game. The other game, you just move this and just keep on pressing the same button. See, you press A, you press up, you shoot up. Press left, you shoot left. Press up, you shoot up. So it's different. Oh shoot. So this is a little bit different on the gameplay. It's a little bit harder because you have to shoot the right direction. otherwise it will not work. Money not booted. Gotta go get one until I die. So yeah, this version Dreamcast to me is more challenging than the other one. Because your up shooting, you have to be pressed this one. Down shooting, you press this one. Left shooting, you press this one. Right shooting, you press this one. Okay. And then you have NeoGeo. NeoGeo, I couldn't get the game sound to work. I got the game to work, but I couldn't get the sound to work, which is kind of weird. Now, in the May, I couldn't get it to work, but in Raspberry Pi 4, I got it working in May, but not in NeoGeo, which is the opposite. What I'm talking about is in the physical folder, they are using Final Burnout Neo. See, everything is good, but once you start it, it just tick, doesn't have sound. It just tick. And that's the closest I could get it working. I couldn't get it. I don't know why I can't get it to work. It's the same ROM, and I put it on the Pi 4, and it worked just fine. But then when I put it here, it doesn't. See, this one I only need to press one button, and I could move down, move left, move up. So its shooting is based on the direction you're going, not based on the button you push. Okay, so the Dreamcast is a little bit harder because it's making it more challenging. It's not hard. I mean, yeah, because you're not used to it, then yeah, it will become harder. But it's more challenging because you have to use the button correctly. All right. So that's NeoGeo version. Now let's go check the NeoGeo CD. They even have NeoGeo. Now NeoGeo CD play nicely. So I don't know, is it because the ROM, but then yet I got it working Raspberry Pi, just don't work here. So I don't know what to tell you. It played Dreamcast fine. It played NeoGeo CD fine. So I can't really tell you why the NeoGeo is acting that way.
Make your selection.
See, it play. Press B.
Commencing operations. Your mission begins now.
This one is the same as the.
Room cleared.
You press A for shooting, and the direction shooting is based on your D-pad, not based on your button pushing.
Watch out. Room cleared.
Now, I remember people saying that NeoGeo version have some glitch on it when they first released it. So I don't know, that could be the problem with because this version of NeoGeo, because they are using a different emulator than the Raspberry Pi 4. So that could be a possibility that's why that one doesn't have a sound. Alright, last one to test would be the Genesis version. Genesis version is a 16-bit, but to me, it played pretty well. Now, the best one is the Dreamcast, I believe, in my opinion. And then the NeoGeo CD. And then NeoGeo. And then than the Mega Drive version. Because the Mega Drive version, the graphic I don't think is as good, but let's see. But the Mega version is the cheapest one to buy. So there's no insert because it's not arcade, just a home console.
Xeno Crisis.
Why keep on going back? I think I have to press star, not A button. Oh, the shooting button is the same like Dreamcast. It's a little bit harder. So the Genesis version is as good as the Mega Drive because the button is pushed based on the direction. Shoot, lost it. So you have to push the right button. So yeah, Genesis version is actually very good. The graphic is not as high intense. I think it looked pretty good. Ah, shoot. One button make you run real fast based on the direction, and I run diagonally and kill myself. Yeah, the Genesis is not that bad. Probably better than the NeoGeo and NeoGeo CD. So it's right behind Dreamcast. If I have to rate it, Dreamcast would be number 1, and the Mega Drive would be number 2, and then NeoGeo CD, and then NeoGeo. Alright, I will include this, but I don't know how you guys gonna put it in because you have to scrape your own video and images, and they're all in a different folder. So I'll try my best to give you this, and then you probably have to try to make it work. But Genesis is a default by Genesis, but let's look at the NeoGeo version. Because NeoGeo version, they use different type of ROM. Emulator. So you need to know which emulator they use. Dreamcast and NeoGeo CD by default it should work just fine. It's only the NeoGeo one is a little bit of tricky. Okay, so NeoGeo, let's see what kind emulator I'm using. I'm using May. See, let's see, totally different. For some reason, May work. Okay, so yeah, so I will have to also give you the bio, how I set it up, so you could set up yours so it will work. But the sound doesn't sound very good. So it's up to you guys if you want to play this one. You got 4 different consoles of the same game, so you could probably do without it. But if you want it, you could go ahead and try it. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching. Later, man.